The countdown to one of rugby's fiercest rivalries has taken an intriguing twist after Rennie confirmed that All Blacks captain Ardie Savea will not travel to South Africa with the main squad, raising questions about New Zealand's preparations ahead of 4 blockbuster tests against the reigning world champion Springboks. While some fans initially wondered whether injury or selection concerns were behind the delayed arrival, the reality tells a very different story. According to Rennie, the decision is all about ensuring that his inspirational captain is physically and mentally refreshed before one of the biggest challenges in international rugby. It is a calculated gamble designed to have the All Blacks at full strength when the series truly matters, and it highlights just how important Savea has become to New Zealand's hopes of reclaiming momentum against their greatest rivals. As Rennie unveiled his 44-man touring squad, excitement immediately surrounded the inclusion of 3 uncapped players, Semisita Putailoa, Sile Lauak, and Josh Jacum, while several familiar faces also returned after impressive performances during the Nations Championship. The expanded squad also welcomes back players such as Timosi Tavitavanawai, Emini Narawa, Rico Ioane, Fabian Holland, George Bell, Ollie Norris, and Ethan Blackadder, giving New Zealand a blend of experience, youth, and fresh energy as they prepare for an intense tour across South Africa. However, despite all the fresh names and renewed optimism, the biggest talking point remained the absence of Ardie Savea from the initial travelling group. Rather than flying with the rest of the squad, who will arrive in stages through Singapore, Hong Kong, and Perth after alternative travel arrangements were made, the captain has been granted valuable time away from rugby. It is a rare opportunity for one of the sport's hardest working players to step back before diving into another demanding test campaign. Rennie explained that the decision was carefully considered after recognizing just how relentless Savea's schedule has been. Since January 2025, the dynamic loose forward has barely had a moment to recover, first representing Moana Pacifica in Super Rugby Pacific before moving straight into international duty with the All Blacks. After that, he joined Japanese club Kobe, continued playing at a high level, and then immediately returned to lead New Zealand during the Nations Championship, featuring in all 3 July tests. It was a workload that left little room for rest, and the coaching staff believed continuing without a break could eventually take its toll. Rather than risking burnout ahead of the season's biggest challenge, the All Blacks have chosen to prioritize long-term performance over short-term availability. Rennie revealed that the coaching group felt this was the ideal window to freshen up their captain, insisting that although Savea would happily keep playing, elite athletes eventually reach a point where recovery becomes just as important as preparation. The head coach believes arriving in South Africa 10 days before the opening test at Ellis Park gives the star loose forward more than enough time to reconnect with the squad, regain match focus, and prepare physically for the opening clash. In doing so, New Zealand hope to unleash a fully energized captain against a Springbok side renowned for its physical intensity and relentless forward dominance. Of course, there is a trade-off. Savea is expected to miss the opening tour fixtures against the Stormers and Sharks and is also unlikely to feature against the Bulls because that match comes only 3 days after his scheduled arrival. That means other players will have a valuable opportunity to impress before the test series begins, particularly younger members of the touring squad eager to establish themselves under Rennie's leadership. The tour also provides an important chance for New Zealand to build depth and identify combinations capable of matching South Africa's formidable squad across for massive encounters. While the captain's delayed arrival grabbed most of the headlines, Rennie also confirmed another significant leadership decision. Veteran hooker Cody Taylor has been appointed tour captain during Savea's absence, reflecting the enormous respect he commands within the All Blacks environment. Although Taylor is currently managing an injury sustained against Ireland during the Nations Championship and is not expected to feature in the opening matches against the South African franchises, Rennie believes his influence extends far beyond the playing field. The experienced front rower was already expected to play only one warm-up fixture before the Test series, making his leadership role off the field equally valuable. According to Rennie, a tour captain must handle much more than matchday responsibilities. Media commitments, team culture, player support, and maintaining calm under pressure all become critical during a demanding overseas tour, particularly one taking place in rugby's most hostile environments. The coach expressed complete confidence in Taylor, describing him as a player admired throughout the squad whose experience and leadership will help guide younger teammates while also allowing other senior players to grow into leadership positions during the provincial fixtures. That strategy reflects a broader vision for the future of the All Blacks under Rennie, balancing immediate success with long-term squad development. With experienced stars returning, emerging talent earning opportunities, and key leaders carefully managed, New Zealand appear determined to arrive at the first test in peak condition rather than chasing short-term victories in the build-up games. Meanwhile, the Springboks will undoubtedly be watching closely, knowing that even without Savea in the early fixtures, the real battle begins once the four-test showdown kicks off. Every selection, every tactical decision, and every recovery plan will be scrutinized as rugby's greatest rivalry prepares for another unforgettable chapter. By choosing patience over urgency with Ardie Savea, Dave Rennie has made a bold statement that the All Blacks are thinking beyond the warm-up matches and focusing entirely on defeating the world champions when it matters most.
The road to one of rugby's most anticipated test series has taken an unexpected but fascinating turn after Dave Rennie revealed that All Blacks captain Ardie Savea will arrive in South Africa later than the rest of the squad, a decision that has already sparked widespread discussion among fans and pundits. At first glance, many assumed the delayed arrival pointed to injury concerns or selection uncertainty, but Rennie quickly made it clear that the move is part of a carefully designed long-term strategy. Rather than risking burnout before the biggest challenge of the year, New Zealand's coaching staff have chosen to prioritize the fitness, freshness, and mental well-being of arguably their most influential player. With 4 massive tests against the reigning world champion Springboks on the horizon, the All Blacks are leaving nothing to chance. Every decision is being made with one goal in mind, arriving at the opening test in the strongest possible condition. That approach has already set the tone for what promises to be one of the fiercest and most closely watched rugby series in recent memory. As Rennie officially announced his 44-man touring squad, attention immediately shifted to the exciting blend of established stars and emerging talent selected for the demanding South African tour. 3 uncapped players, Semisi Tuputai-Loa, Sal Lawak, and Josh Jacome, earned the opportunity of a lifetime after impressing at domestic level, while familiar faces including Timosi Tavita-Banawai, Emily Narawa, Rico Ioane, Fabian Holland, George Bell, Ollie Norris, and Ethan Blackadder all returned to strengthen the group following the nation's championship. The selections underline Rennie's determination to build depth while maintaining the world-class quality expected from the All Blacks. Yet despite the excitement surrounding the new arrivals, one story overshadowed everything else. Why would the captain himself not travel with the team? The answer lies in an extraordinary workload that few elite athletes could sustain. According to Rennie, Ardie Savea has effectively been living out of a suitcase while playing high-intensity rugby almost without interruption since January 2025. His season began with Moana Pacifica in Super Rugby Pacific before immediately transitioning into international duty with the All Blacks. Once that campaign ended, he headed to Japan to represent Kobe, only to return once again for the nation's championship under Rennie's new coaching era. Through all of those competitions, Savea remained one of New Zealand's most important performers, leading from the front with relentless physicality, unmatched work rate and inspirational leadership. He played every test during July, carrying enormous responsibility in every match. While many players eventually receive opportunities to rotate or step away briefly, Savea's importance to every side he represents meant those chances rarely came. The coaching staff recognized that if they continued asking their captain to push through fatigue, they could risk diminishing the impact of one of rugby's greatest competitors just before facing the Springboks. Rather than allowing that to happen, Rennie and his management team decided that now was the perfect opportunity to press pause. The All Blacks coach explained that Savea would happily continue playing every week if given the choice because that is simply his personality. However, elite performance is about more than determination alone. Physical recovery, mental freshness, and emotional energy all become equally important during a season packed with relentless competition. Rennie believes that stepping away from rugby for a short period allows Savea to clear his mind before returning fully focused for the challenge ahead. The plan is for the captain to arrive in South Africa 10 days before the opening test at Ellis Park, giving him enough time to reconnect with teammates, complete final preparations and build towards the opening showdown without carrying the accumulated fatigue of the past 18 months. It is a calculated risk, but one that reflects the confidence the coaching staff have in both their leader and the wider squad. The delayed arrival does, however, mean Savea is expected to miss the opening provincial fixtures against the Stormers and Sharks, and he is also unlikely to feature against the Bulls because that match comes only days after his arrival. Those games suddenly become extremely important opportunities for the rest of the squad. Younger loose forwards will have the chance to prove themselves against powerful South African opposition, while combinations throughout the team can develop without relying on their biggest star. For Rennie, these fixtures are not merely warm-up matches. They represent an opportunity to test squad depth, evaluate tactical systems and expose emerging players to the physical demands they will eventually encounter at test level. South African provincial teams rarely offer easy victories, particularly when facing the All Blacks, and every player knows strong performances could influence selection once the test series begins. While Savea's absence dominated headlines, another major leadership announcement quietly revealed how much faith Rennie has in the experience within his squad. Veteran hooker Codie Taylor has been named tour captain during Savea's absence, ensuring continuity and stability while the regular skipper enjoys his well-earned break. Although Taylor is recovering from an injury sustained against Ireland during the Nations Championship and is unlikely to feature in the opening provincial matches, Rennie insisted his influence extends far beyond what happens on the pitch. Leadership on a demanding South African tour involves much more than leading the team through 80 minutes of rugby. It includes managing media attention, maintaining squad unity, supporting younger players and helping create the right environment throughout weeks of travel and intense competition. Taylor, according to Rennie, is perfectly suited for that responsibility because of the enormous respect he commands inside the All Blacks dressing room. The coach described him as one of the squad's most trusted leaders, someone whose calm personality and professionalism make him invaluable even when unavailable for selection.